you are Canadian and you are 18 years or older and you do not have an emergency fund, a TFSA and or an RRSP, this video is perfect for you. If you are under 18 or you think you have no need for a Canadian account, this video is still great for you because knowledge is power, and today we're gonna learn. Hello and welcome to Sarah Refined. I am Sarah and this is my channel where I'm showing my journey of personal growth, self-development, and financial education. We are focusing on the last one today. Oh, and by the way, thank you for liking this video and subscribing. That's just so nice of you. Please share this video with a friend or someone who you think might be interested in checking it out. Speaking of checking, that brings us to our first account. A Chequings account is the most basic of basic accounts. You can pretty much open one of these when you're 2. You just walk into a bank with your parents and show them that you are who you say you are. And bam, you have a place to keep your money. And if you have a legal job and you're getting paid legal money and you get legal paychecks, they're probably getting deposited into this Chequings account. It's not mandatory to have one, but it's suggested because your other option is to go to those places that give like cash stuff and you end up spending like a third of your check paying their fees. It's not worth it. Your checking account will be your transaction account. You'll spend from here with your debit card and all your paychecks will go into it and maybe rent and bills and stuff get paid out of this account. The second account that most people have is their savings account. Again, this is usually opened with the same bank that you have your Chequings account with, although not always. Some people do have them in different banks so that they forget about that money and it just grows on its own. But basically, this is an account where you can set aside the funds you don't need exactly right away. Usually, the banks will offer a small interest for having the money in the account because they'll use your money to send out loans to other people. So while they're borrowing it, you get to make a little bit of money. When starting out with budgets and accounts and all that fun stuff, I suggest using this as your sinking funds or your non-emergency emergency account. Your car needing new tires or you needing to go to the dentist or even buying a flight to your best friend's wedding that's planned for 15 months from now. These are not emergencies, but you know they're coming up. So start saving for them now in these sinking funds and you'll be set to go when it comes. I'm going to link in the description below the financial diets video on sinking funds. It is really well explained, 5 minutes, easy to understand. I think you should definitely watch it right after this one. Now, your dog getting sick and costing you $3,000 of vet bills or rear-ending someone and having to pay some insurance damages and stuff, these are emergencies. The worst is when your work hours get cut or your job is being laid off and you now have no way to pay the bills. But when these things happen, you are going to be jumping for joy because you'll be so grateful that you had 6 to 8 months planned and you have the funds for that sitting aside. Emergency funds are probably the most important thing to build, especially in your 20s. A lot of people will tell you that 3 months saved up is enough. I disagree. Pursuit.ca said that in 2017, it took people approximately 19 and a half weeks to find a new job after quitting their original. That's nearly 5 months. Another site, workopolis.com, said that 50% of the people they asked told them it was approximately 16 weeks or 4 months before they found their most recent job. And finally, for Americans, thebalancecareers.com said that on average, people were out of work and unemployed for 22.1 weeks. 1/5 of the people surveyed said it took them 27 weeks before they found work. That's nearly 8 months, you guys. Now, imagine that you didn't have an emergency fund. You lose your job, you have $500 in your Chequings account, $610 on your Visa, and you've got a paycheck, say, coming in for like $2,000. How long can you last before you're suddenly $10,000 in credit card debt with compound interest working against you? Remember, you have your rent to pay, phone bills, food. Never mind that you're probably not just gonna sit like a recluse in your house for 8 months. Although in this situation, that's exactly what I would suggest you do. Like, go get yourself a free library card and become a reading addict or something. You literally can't afford anything else. I'm sorry. Now, let's say you did have 6 months of this, like all your bills, your rent, your groceries, everything saved up and in an account specifically for this scenario. You've been spending months and years working towards putting this money aside so that when this event happens, it's stressful, but you know you're actually going to be good for at least 6 months. And chances are, if you're the type of person to have an emergency fund, you're probably also the type of person who's not going to go 6 months without finding a way to make a cent. Emergency fund. Start with $1,000 and build yourself up to that. Once you reach that, calculate how many months you want to feel comfortable for, add up all your bills, and multiply it by the number you want. That is the number you're now working towards. Good luck. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. We're going into a lot of acronyms. The TFSA in Canada is similar to the Roth IRA in the States and the ISA in the UK. A big difference though is that the Roth IRA has a lot of restrictions on withdrawals, and it's actually kind of more like the Canadian version of the RSP. I did try to get more precise comparisons between Canada, the States, and the UK, but the last article I could find was written by the Globe and Mail in 2008. So either I'm not really good at using search engines, or maybe it's just not a very riveting topic. Anyway, the TFSA is pretty simple. You deposit your money, they invest it in mutual funds, and you watch your money make you more money. It's one of my favorite things. A lot of people are very confused about the difference between a TFSA or an RSP. And I'm going to link below an article that really well lays out the whole shenanigans thing. Don't know if that was the right word, but we're gonna roll with it. Simply put, the TFSA does have a contribution limit, but you can withdraw as much as you need anytime, and you don't pay taxes when you withdraw. This has saved me twice. The very first time, I think I was about 22, 23, and I was getting a ton of calls from this number. It was driving me nuts, so I answered it one day, and it was the CRA. They said I owed them $3,800, and when they did not start telling me to pay them in iTunes gift cards, I was starting to feel a little bit nervous. It was the real thing. I had worked a job a couple years earlier, but only for a few months, and I'd forgotten to pay the taxes on it. So they tried to contact me for 2 years, but I never changed my address with them. So all the money I owed, plus compound interest, I think I owed about $1,500 at the end of it. The rest of it was all from student loan stuff that they said I didn't use the money properly, which I did. So I got that money back eventually. But in the initial case here, I had to pay $3,800 from my TFSA account. The nice thing about the TFSA is that it was invested for me, and I made a little bit of money while I held it from the government, not enough to counterbalance that, but it worked out in the end. The second time it saved me was just last summer when I was an idiot and I did not take 30% off of my paychecks, even though it was my first year working as an independent contractor. So tax season came and $8,400 left my account. My goal was to get $15,000 by the end of the year plus, and it was heartbreaking watching that sink down to like $5,000. But again, it didn't knock me out because you can withdraw from the TFSA as you need. The other thing here is that when I withdraw, so if I have a limit of say $10,000 per year and I submitted $8,000 and then I pull all $8,000, I only have $2,000 left of contribution room for this year. So then the next year, the next calendar year, I now can roll or invest in another $10,000 plus the $8,000 I had withdrawn from before. So you need to be careful with that with the TFSA because although you can get back that contribution room, it goes per calendar year. And if you overinvest, it's not good. You don't want to do that. I was reading an article on Wealthsimple and they suggest that a TFSA is perfect, especially for anyone who is making less than $50,000 a year, just because all of the pros, and if you need the money in a pinch, it's not penalized when you pull it out. And now on to the very last one for this video, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan. The US equivalent is the IRA, which if you Google, you just get the Irish Republic Army. So that was confusing. Or you get a 401k. It looks to me like the UK just has a pension and that's their retirement fund. So if you know anything else about that, can you please let me know? I'd be very interested in the information. As a brief explanation, I'm going to quote an email that I got last week. The more you contribute, the less you pay in income tax. And each year, the government gives you a certain amount of contribution room. For 2019, it's 18% of your income, or $26,500. Whichever is lower. And don't forget, you can also carry forward room from past years. Any guesses on who sent me that email? Anyone? Do I hear Wealthsimple? Yes, it's Wealthsimple. When it comes to finances, Wealthsimple is my favorite email list, favorite platform, everything. It's just easy, so easy. If you are self-employed, an independent contractor, a student, or you just want a break on your taxes, this is a really good account for you. The thing is, you just want to be careful of what tax bracket you fall in, because if you're already not going to be paying that much in taxes, contributing to this isn't really going to benefit you that much. TFSA is probably better for you, but I always think that starting an RSP, even with like $50 a week or $50 a month, whatever it is you can afford, it's a good start. There are some important things you need to watch out for with this account. Withdrawing from this account before the allocated time results in huge penalties. It's not worth it. This is a long-term savings plan for retirement when you're like 59. Okay, so you remember with the TFSA, you don't have to pay taxes when you pull the money out because you already paid them when you deposited the money initially. With the RSP, it's the opposite. You do have to pay taxes when you pull it out, but you get the taxes back when you put it in initially. The money I deposit into my RSPs, I will get a percentage back later. If I was getting paid out on paychecks and all my taxes were being cut from me before I received my paycheck, I would get a check at the end of the year, or it would be a direct deposit, or however the companies work, with the money that I am now owed, my refund. I really hope that all makes sense. The very last thing I want to say here is this. I feel like a lot of people think that they're just going to turn 65, get a pension, and be like, sweet, I can retire. But that's not how it works at all, at least not in Canada. That pension might only be $24,000 a year. And if you don't have any funds saved up, that's not going to be a very fun retirement. If you are currently making $45,000 a year, and after rent and bills and food and fun, you are out every penny, okay, that's your quality of living. Multiply that now by 25 years. That is $1,125,000. That's what you need to maintain your lifestyle right now in your 20s for 25 years. And you might think, oh, but I'm not gonna be drinking, or I'm not gonna be doing this or whatever when you're that old. But you're gonna have family and friends, and you're gonna wanna take trips, and you're not gonna just be sitting there lonesome being like, I can die now. No, you wanna have money that you can enjoy your retirement years. That's the whole point. There's a bit of an issue right now where a lot of people had planned for their retirement funds to last them 12 to 20 years. Retire at 65, dead at 85. But people are living longer on average now. So they get 10 years into their funds and they realize they have one more decade's worth of money and they need to make it last probably another 2 decades. I don't think you want to be in that boat. So RSP, even if it's just $50 a month, it's a start. I hope this video has given you some information and insight on a few of the different accounts that you should have and how to use them on your journey to financial freedom or financial independence, whatever you want to call it. If you had questions, I hope I provided some answers. If you like this video and you have any suggestions on what kind of videos you'd like to see more of on my channel, please leave them down in the comment box below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and turn that button blue. And definitely don't let that subscriber button stay red. I've heard it's really bad luck. Remember to share this video with a friend or anyone who you think might find value in it or be interested in checking it out. Thank you so much for joining me here today on Sarah Refined. And if you haven't seen my video yet on money mindset, I'll put it right here on my vision board, and I will see you over there.